Hello everyone, myself Dr. Vipul M. Patel from Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, Junagadh. Now, from this session, we are going to start another lecture series of the new subject, that is Power Plant Engineering, which is offered in the 7th semester students of the Mechanical Engineering by the GTU. Right? So, new subject, that is Power Plant Engineering. The subject code is 2171910. That's the chapter number 1, that is Thermal Power Plant. In this lecture, in this session, we will learn about the different topics like general layouts of the thermal power plant, selection criteria for the land selection of the thermal power plant, and present status of the electrical system or present status of the electricity generation in the India. So we will start the first topic, that is general layout of the thermal power plant. So you can see in the figure, this is the layout of the thermal power plant and different equipment used in thermal power plant, like coal handler, ash handler, boiler, superheater, preheater, air preheater, turbine, cooling tower, chimney, economizers, etc. See, almost 2/3 of the electricity requirement of the world is fulfilled by the thermal power plants. 2/3. See, in this power station, steam is produced by burning some fuels and then used to run a steam turbine. Thus, a thermal power plant may sometimes called a steam power plant. Why? Because the steam is passes through the steam turbine and it is condensed in the condensers, and again it fit back to the boiler to become a steam. That's why it is called steam power plant. And this cycle that we have discussed of the steam, which is also passes through the steam turbine and condensed in the condensers and fed back into the boiler, become steam, it is called Rankine cycle. So on the basis of that Rankine cycle, it is working steam power plant. So in this session, how electricity is generated in the thermal power plants. As majority of the thermal power plant use coal as their primary fuels, right? So in this session, first of all, we will discuss about the coal. In a coal-based thermal power plant, coal is transported from the coal mines to the generating station. So generally, brown coal is used as a fuel in this power plant. The coal is stored in either dead storage or in live storage. So dead storage is generally 40 days backup coal storage, and also which is used for the this type of thermal power plant, right? So the coal is cleaned in a magnetic cleaner to filter out if any iron particles are present, which may causes wear or tear in the equipments, right? Different equipments we are using in the thermal power plants. So we have to filter it with the use of this magnetic cleaner. If there is some iron particles, so the coal from the live storage is first crushed in the small particles and taken into the powdered form. So fine powdered called undergoes complete the combustion which is we required in the thermal power plant. So which can also improve the efficiency of the boiler, and the ash product after the combustion of the coal is taken out of the boiler furnace and then properly disposed. Or it is the requirement of the thermal power plant, periodic removal of the ash from the boiler furnace is necessary for the proper combustion. If we are not disposing the ash from the boiler, then there will be some error in the combustion after some time, after some period, right? This is the coal. Now boiler, the mixture of the pulverized coal and air, or we can say preheated air, is taken into the boiler and then burnt into the combustion zone. So on ignition of the fuel, a large fireball is formed at the center of the boiler, and the large amount of heat energy is radiated from it. So the heat energy is utilized to convert the water into the steam at high temperature and the pressure, right? This is the boiler drum. This is the path of the steam. You can see in the figure. This is the path of the steam. This is the boiler drum, right? And one more thing, that is steel tubes run along the boiler walls in which water is converted into the steam. And the flue gases, this is, you can see, flue gases, path of the flue gases. So these flue gases from the boiler make their way through superheater, economizer. You can see in the figure over here, flue gases, path of the flue gases, path of the steam, the way through the superheater, economizer over here, you can see in the figure, and air preheater, and finally get exhausted to the atmosphere from the chimney over here, right? Now what is superheater? You can see in the figure. The superheater tubes are hanged at the hottest part of the boiler, and the saturated steam produced into the boiler tubes is superheated about 540 degrees Celsius in the superheater. So the superheated high pressure steam is then fed into the turbine from here to here, right? Path of the steam, path of the flue gases entered in the superheater. So what is the application of the superheater? It is used for produced superheated steam about 540 degrees Celsius, and then the superheated high pressure steam is fed into the steam turbine. Economizer. An economizer is essentially a feed water heater which heats the water before supplying to the boiler. It is the only application of the economizer, right? Economizer is essentially a feed water heater which heats the water before supplying to the boiler, right? Air preheater. The primary air fan takes air from the atmosphere and it is then warmed in the air preheater, and then preheated air is injected with the coal in the boiler. The advantage of the preheating the air is that it improves the coal combustion. Now steam turbine. High pressure superheated steam is fed to the steam turbine, which causes turbine blades to rotate. energy in the steam is converted into the mechanical energy in the steam turbine, which acts as the prime over the pressure and temperature of the steam falls to the lower value and it expands its volume as it passes through the turbine. So what is the main application of the turbine? High pressure superheated steam first of all fed into the steam turbine, which causes turbine blades to rotate, and then energy in the steam, stored energy in steam is converted into the mechanical energy. So now pressure and temperature of the steam falls to a lower value and it expands in the volume as it passes through the turbine. The expanded low pressure steam is also exhausted in the condenser, right? Condenser, which is also one of the most important equipment used in the thermal power plant. The exhausted steam is condensed in the condenser by means of the cold water circulation. Here the steam loses its pressure as well as temperature. Where? In the condenser, right? So it is converted back into the water. Condensing is essential because compressing a fluid which is in gaseous state requires a huge amount of the energy with respect to the energy required in the compressing liquid. Thus condensing increases the efficiency of the cycle. So we can use different types of condenser in this thermal power plant, but which we will discuss in the chapter number 7, condensers and cooling towers. Today only we are discussing now introduction about the condenser and application of the condenser in the thermal power plant. Right? Now feed water pump, you can see in the figure. The condensed water is again fed to the boiler by a feed water pump. Some water may be lost during the cycle, which is suitably supplied from an external water source. Right? The basic working principle of a thermal power plant and its typical components that we are discussing now, and cooling towers and chimney that we have discussed in the previous subjects, and also we will discuss in the chapter number 7, condensers and cooling towers. Now I want to discuss advantages and disadvantages of this thermal power plant with you. First of all, advantages. One of the most important advantages, less initial cost as compared to the generating station, and the requirement of the land is also less as compared to the hydropower plant, and the cost of the fuel which we are using in the thermal power plant is also cheaper compared to the others, like coal. Right? The cost of the generation is lesser than that of the diesel power plant also. These are the advantages of the thermal power plant. Now disadvantages. It pollutes the atmosphere due to the production of the large amount of smokes. I hope all of you have seen the thermal power plant. Right? So in that thermal power plant, we have already seen that a large amount of smoke that will produce, and this is one of the causes of global warming, because all the smokes, large amount of smokes which produce in the thermal power plant, definitely it pollutes the atmosphere. Right? So this is one of the important disadvantage of the thermal power plant. Now we will discuss selection of site for thermal power plant. Availability of the coal, first of all, because coal, that is we are using as a fuel in the thermal power plant. So without that we can't run our steam or thermal power plant. So first of all we have to think about the coal or availability of the coal. So in the thermal power plant of 400 megawatt capacity requires nearly 6,000 tons of the coal every day. So we have to think about the availability of the coal. And one can say that the power plant should be located near the coal mines. Otherwise it is very difficult to manage the fuel as a coal in the thermal power plant. As disposal facilities, as we discussed in the previous slide, we have to dispose as to improve the efficiency of the boiler periodically, right? So ash comes out in hot conditions and handling is very difficult. So the ash can be disposed into the sea or water. Nature of land. So which type of land we have to select for the thermal power plant. So before the selecting site of the thermal power plant, we have to think about the nature of land first of all. So many power plants have failed due to the weak foundation. Land or soil, we can say, should have good bearing capacity to withstand the dead load of the plant. Explain about the pollution caused by the thermal power plant or steam power plant. Main pollutant from the thermal power plant are SO2, CO2, CO as minute particles such as fly ash. SO2 causes suffocation, irritation to throats and eyes, and respiratory for the people, and it destroys crop. And CO is a poisonous gas. Dust particle causes respiratory troubles like cold, sneezing, etc. So all these things we have to think for the selection of the site for thermal power plant. Availability of water. Availability of the water, it is also important. So water consumption is more as feed water into the boiler, condenser, and also for the ash disposal, right? Water is also required for the drinking purpose of the staff who are working in the thermal power plant. Hence, plants should be located near the water sources. Transportation facilities, which is also related with the coal, right? Public problems. The plant should be far away from the residential area to avoid the nuisance from the smoke, fly, ash and noise, right? Thermal pollutions, it is also one of the important criteria for the selection of the site for the thermal power plant. Why? Because thermal power plant produce 40 million kilojoule of the heat to the environment through condenser, waters and exhaust gases. Understand or not? It produces 40 million kilojoule of heat, and which is definitely we will dispose it into the atmosphere through the condenser, water and exhaust gases. So this is the pollution, atmospheric pollution we can say. So thermal pollution of the atmosphere can be reduced using the low grade energy exhaust steam. Another thing, that is noise pollution. The source of the noise in a power plant are turbo alternators, fans and power transformers. Soundproofing can be done to reduce the noise pollution or noise, we can say. Now, last topic of this chapter number 1, thermal power plant. That is present status of the power generation in India. The national electric grid in the India has an installed capacity of 370 gigawatt as of 31st of March 2020. National electric grid in the India has an installed capacity up to the 31st of March 2020 is of 370 gigawatt. Another renewable power plants, which also include the large hydroelectric plants that consist 35.86% of India's total installed capacity. So this is the current scenario of the power generation in India. Okay, so this is the chapter number 1. In the next lecture we will discuss about another chapter. We will start another chapter from the next lecture. Today it is enough. Thank you very much.